Hello.
Hello.
How are we?
Yeah, here we go. Another one. Now my turn.
Great. I can't wait. Hello, everyone. Welcome to No Humping Wednesdays. I didn't forget that it's on today, but I'm just have no feeling of time and days at the moment.
So basically, Julia needs a personal assistant. If anybody is out there that wants to take over, drop your CV in the comments, and we'll pass it over.
Need an assistant and a break, but the break is coming in 7 weeks, which is also freaking me out.
Okay, what, holiday?
Yeah.
Where are you off to?
South Korea.
Ooh, that's different.
Right? I'm very nervous.
Any reason?
No, just why not? Yeah, why not? I love Asia. I have huge what's the word? Admiration and
admiration, yeah.
Is that a word? And respect for Asia. So I thought, why not start with South Korea? But I'm also very nervous at the same time because it's so different and I have no idea what's going on. But yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, how are you, Shaun? How have you been since roasting me?
Yeah, good. I've had all sorts of publicity. I've had requests. Yeah, all's good. All's good. I actually love this stuff, though. By the way, so no pressure. But I think when I started on LinkedIn this year, being heavily active, there was a lot of people that was interested and said, "Look, come on the podcast. I love this stuff. Love talking."
we can't tell. No, I'm very excited because it's my turn to ask you all the questions, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and also I noticed that I gave you a brief idea of what I was going to talk about. You haven't done that for me, so that has been noted. Don't worry.
That is down to me just being all over.
nothing personal.
I thought I'd keep it interesting for you, so that's that.
I'm ready.
Good. So, the most important question we have in the beginning, and I'm really excited for that one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The most important question the people wanted to know. And also, sorry, before I start keeping the tension high, I have to say, we have really good audience, which is not great because usually people ask very personal, embarrassing questions. Our audiences are just very curious about health and fitness, which is obviously but
weird. It's like they're not actually even on LinkedIn or something because that's not how LinkedIn rolls normally.
Right? I thought we get more personal, embarrassing questions. Now is their time, right? But apparently not. So that's okay.
It's fine
anyway, so in the morning or in general, do you put your socks on first or your trousers?
Yeah, I saw this one. It was a good one. And as I put in the comment, I was like, I actually had to think about that. But no, I am a sock first. The trouser has to slide over the sock rather than actually putting the trousers on and then kind of working the sock. Yeah, it's definitely socks first.
Doesn't make sense. It's like people who put milk first and then cereal. I don't trust people like that. Please don't tell me you do that. Cereal first, milk. Okay.
Cereal first, milk. Yeah. I think most of the generic ones, I think I'm okay with how I lay things out, I think. But yeah, interesting fact that I always do left side first. Don't know about anybody else, but I get changed left side first.
You what? Left side first?
I get changed left side first. I put my left sock on first. I put my left shoe on first. Left side first. It was a hockey thing.
Weird. Okay. I should try. I should. The other day I was listening to this podcast and the guy said about how to kind of activate your subconscious immediately in the morning, first thing. To start brushing, if you always brush your teeth with your right hand, start brushing with your left hand, and then just say some affirmations, because then it's you have to think so much harder to brush properly with your left hand if you always.
Have you tried it?
I have.
It's hard.
It's hard, but also I have an electric toothbrush, so it's actually not that hard for me because I just hold it and just do it.
It's still so weird. Like I've done it. I've seen that before, but literally, like I would be like passing to the other side, and before I knew it, it was back in the first. It was like get back over there, like just subconsciously passing it back to what worked.
Yeah, maybe I should like buy a manual one and just try it a little bit.
Or your PA maybe can do that, and you can save some time.
Applications are now open. Okay, very good. Very interesting. Socks first. I did not expect that. It's really weird, but here we are.
It makes sense.
So so you said it comes from like back in the day playing hockey and stuff. I want to touch on that anyway. So tell us about your hockey days and what that has to do with putting on things on the left side first.
You will never meet a more superstitious bunch of people in your life. Honestly, if you sat and watched a few games in a row of literally, some people will say it's a routine. Other people will say it's superstition. Some people say it's a routine because then if something goes wrong, it won't affect your performance. But it's incredible. I played with a guy who I thought he was going to cry because he forgot his gum shield. Just having everything in place is absolutely insane. And I think it's just one of those things, like, I guess if it's habitual, right? If you're constantly changing how you get changed, that can have a negative effect on your energy, and which then can lead to your performance. Nothing to do with that you got changed another way. It's just unnecessary work. So somewhere along the line, I just started putting the left side on first. And even from the point of honestly, Julia, from the moment I woke up on a game day, everything was based around that game. Literally everything, from what I ate to how much I ate to what time I ate. I barely left the house on game days just so that I didn't get affected performance-wise and break the cycle. So yeah, honestly, we're fascinating creatures, absolutely fascinating, because some of the superstitions were a lot stranger than getting left side on first.
I do think it's an athlete thing, right? Like if you look at any sports person on game day, you have to be on your best, right? And I think routines can help a lot actually with peak performance. And just, like you said, like it's just like little, like the tiniest thing, if that is, you forgot about it, or it's weird, or it's not in order as it usually is, it just throws you out so much, right? Because you have to have that routine to just function properly, so you make sure everything is set in stone, right? So nothing can go wrong, basically.
Yeah. And they said that was the difference with like people like Michael Phelps. They said he was genetically designed to swim. He had the perfect kind of body, leg, arm kind of ratio. But they said that the difference was what made him so successful was his routine. And whether that's just kind of like a winning mindset that you just build your confidence up through the day by multiple things going right, or you look at it the other way and you look at the energy saving element. You've built up that habit so you don't need as much energy, so that when you do need it, you're in a better state that you can find that 1%. And that's a huge carryover from being an athlete into even just weight loss style results. You do that work when you're fresher. You planning literally links to your happiness, unplanning links to being unhappy. So just having that preparation state and that routine working for you allows you not only to perform, for me, like on the ice, Michael Phelps in the pool, but you to perform at work, to perform as a partner or a parent. There's no different. Life is a performance. It just so happens that in some places, thousands of people watch you, and others, nobody watches you, but it's on you to be at your best, that you can be your best at work or at home or etc. Everything is a performance.
Yeah. So how do you because one very interesting question as well, which I'm very interested always in as well, is being, an athlete or former athlete, and having developed all these skills and routines and habits, how so first part of the question is, how does that now carry on into your now life as not being an athlete, or still an athlete, but not as pro anymore? And how can, or how does that work for your clients? Developing routines, I'm guessing, first and foremost, right? And making them kind of sustainable and achievable in the first place.
Yeah. So over the past few years, there's been a couple of times where I've like remembered how I used to behave. Now, when I played hockey, I was very focused, very driven. And I had to, a lot of it was on yourself, because this isn't a heavily funded sport over here. We didn't have sports psychologists. We didn't have strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists. We didn't have that. You had to do it yourself. And I was pretty good at that. Not in all areas. As most know, I struggled with having too high levels of body fat or cutting too low. I struggled with that. But I think a lot of it with sport, and I do believe everybody should play some form of sport in their life, because it teaches you social skills, it keeps you off the streets, it teaches you basic strength and agility for day-to-day life. I think it's very important, and a lot of those just naturally carry over. One thing I found fascinating is, even though my training schedule over the past 4 or 5 years is heavily reduced to what I was doing, I haven't lost a huge amount of strength and ability. I've still been okay when I got back on the ice. I've still been okay when I've deadlifted. It's amazing what you keep once you put the work in. But I did a post about this not long ago, and I had a huge wake-up call as a parent. I reached kind of my parenting peak. As any parents here will know, you get this complete overwhelm sometimes with the kids and noise and life. And I sat there and I remembered saying to myself, it's like, look, there's always another game. We used to play Saturday and Sunday normally. And if we lost on a Saturday, I had to think, how do I get back and stop that happening on Sunday? What do I need to do? So I always used to plan to be better. But when I stopped playing, that wasn't always the case. I didn't see it as there's always another day or there's always another game. It was just very much, this is stressful and I'm tired and this is going to carry on. Whereas in sport, I never thought like that. If I played rubbish at the weekend, I would look at what I was rubbish at and I'd work on it all week so it didn't happen the next week. So I had to take that into me, my own self, because remember, if I'm not at my best at parenting, that's probably going to carry over to the coaching and my own training and well-being as well. So it's amazing what little things, when you can take one skill from one area of your life and move it to another, the skill doesn't change, just the topic. And that's what I try and do a lot with my clients, especially ones that are maybe successful in business. Hey, you're already successful here. You've got the skills. So let's use those skills and let's learn this topic over here to get you better.
Yeah. And it's a fascinating thing, and something I notice with my own clients, because my own clients are, also very successful in whatever job they're doing or whatever business they have. However, when it comes to health and fitness, it just always looks different, right? Yeah. So it's like, you just have to do whatever you do here. But anyway, another topic for another day, maybe. So what are like maybe 3 of the most important habits you would say that you've carried on from being an athlete into now daily life, apart from like obviously planning and organizing?
That's a really good question. That is a really good question.
I came up with that.
Yeah, because there's such
sorry everyone.
There's such it's such a kind of a broad spectrum of what you can go down. I guess a huge part of it's consistency, right? It's just, you're gonna have losses. You're gonna lose. Okay. No sport team has gone unbeaten forever. No sport person has. There has been some form of loss at some point. And consistency is understanding that you're gonna lose, but what are you gonna learn from it to reduce that time and come back better? So, it's that kind of showing up on your worst day. You don't want to go training. You don't want to plan your food. Okay, well, what can I do? Because if I don't do it, I'm going to continue to lose. And losing isn't fun. Everybody knows that, whether you play recreational or not. If you lose in your transformation journey, it's not fun. But if you choose to turn that into a learning process, then there is going to be success at some point. What else? I guess, like I said, doing the work. I said a minute ago, if you do the work, it's amazing what you keep later on for less effort. And that's how habits work, right? When you're forming a new habit, it requires a lot of energy, a lot of effort to keep it. But what you'll notice about your brainwaves once you've got the habit, you'll get the spike off the cue, the routine will conserve the energy, and then when you get the reward, it kind of spikes up again. So the work that you're putting in now, as much as you may not be seeing it pay off right now, it will. It will pay off massively if you use, number one, continue to show up and do the work in terms of like your strength training, building habits with your healthy relationship with your food. All of that is paying off. And last one, I guess, because it's very strange actually, because I come from a team sport. But for a long period of time, I was very much a lone wolf because my junior career, there's not a huge pool of players. If I didn't play well, the team often lost. If I played well, the team would often win. And there was a couple other players that would generally, obviously the team obviously did help that, but that's how I perceived it. I took that into my PT career. I don't need your help. I can do this. And I don't regret that time because I've learned an awful lot. Yet what I've noticed more so is when you get those people around you, and I notice this more to my older, wiser years of playing, when you get those people playing well around you, that accelerates your results. So if we're looking transformation-wise, if you get a strong team around you, hear the saying, you're like the closest 5 people around you and stuff. It's true. If you get the right team around you, the right people, you can go an awful lot further. You've just got to make sure those people aren't just, there to make you feel better. You generally have your well-being in the right place, because you can go so much further together, because you can't win by yourself. Ask anybody. Ask any sport team, sport person. They will tell you such and such had a huge influence. This team, this player had such a huge influence. So that community that you're surrounded by, again, you and I are both very heavy on LinkedIn. That has done exactly that for me this year. LinkedIn has been my winning team of the past. And I feel like those trophies are going to start to come back again now.
Yeah. And even if you do not even if it's not like team sports or, if it's just anything, even if you're like participating on your own, it's still the team behind you, behind the scenes, the people who, make or break your success as well. Right. And I think oftentimes we forget about that in real life, right? You're just as good as your support system. And, we see it with like health and fitness a lot. It's like, yeah, everyone knows what they have to do, but okay, why are you not doing it?
But it's also recognizing who those people are, because sometimes it's obvious in terms of your coach or your best friend or a teammate. Sometimes it's obvious, but one person said something to me at one point that changed my perspective. And I was a junior playing at Slough, and I was close to making the men's team there. And he turned around to me and he said, "You don't want to play in the men's team here. You want to be higher up. You want to be successful. You don't want to play here." And I was like, he's right. I don't. This is a tier or 2 down. And that decision made me go up to a top team at the age of 16, and I never looked back. So you have to look around you as well at who is supporting you, who is generally rooting for you. Don't let them go. Those people are absolutely priceless, that literally do have your best interest at heart without any, that guy needed nothing from me. Nothing from me. It was just his perception and his look. And there are people like that out there that are doing that for you. Grab hold tight of those people, because there aren't many of them. Because there is a lot of jealousy or protection because they love you. That, there's so many different reasons why people will hold you back, and it's not always hatred. So the ones that are rooting for you, that do actually believe in you, super glue yourself to them.
It's like everyone wants to see you win until you win, right? And then
yeah. And that's the thing. And this guy had no interest in seeing me fail or anything. It was just generally, he was saying it as he saw it, and it was fantastic advice. From a young age, it made me do what I did to start. I probably should have taken him with me and hired him as my coach all the way through. Things might have looked a little bit different.
Yeah. So what got you into sports in the first place? Were you like always a very sporty like child or teenager, or what's the story there? How did you get into like sports, then hockey, to then obviously now doing training and fitness as
Yeah,
a coach yourself?
yeah. Always loved sport, but to be honest, I didn't really have much of a choice because I was skating when I was 2. My parents put me on the ice at 2. They were only just started liking ice hockey themselves. My relatives live in Canada. As most people know, it's a huge national sport. So they went out there, saw a game, and realized there was a team just around the corner. So they started watching there. I was playing hockey at 5. I played all sorts, played football, played baseball, played cricket, played roller hockey. Any sport I could get hold of, it was my favorite thing to do. I was okay academically, but like sport wise was a huge release to get out of that kind of that academic lifestyle. And then we just got to a point, both my brother and I, we got to a point where they said, look, you're now at a level at ice hockey, you need to make a decision. What are you going to do? Are you going to commit, or are you going to go play football? Are you going to play, what is it? I think an element of that now I look at it was probably finances for my parents, because it's a very expensive sport. But at the same time, we did need to commit more if we were going down that route, and we loved it. We love playing. I still do. I'm not desperate to get back on the ice, but when I do, it's a great feeling. And one thing I always said with ice hockey, before I finish playing, I want to coach. And I was so close once, so close. Yet that opportunity was taken away from me last minute, and it crushed that dream. But when I look at it now, I am coaching. I am doing exactly what I would do for players, just in another area that I'm also passionate about. So this is why when people hear me tell my story, I don't regret anything. Is there things I would change? Maybe. But everything has led to this point. Absolutely everything has led to this point. So I am now able to coach. I am now able to help people. It's just not with hockey. It's just self-development, which was a huge area of struggle for me as well. So sport has offered me everything to get to this point, and that's why I love it. That's why I think it's so great.
Yeah. It's fascinating, right? How we sometimes think that's what we wish we would do, and then we do something else or similar, but it's actually just as equal or more fulfilling than what we
Yeah,
thought in the first
yeah.
place. Yeah.
And a lot less stressful, I can imagine, because if I was coaching a team, it's still a huge commitment. But that's what I thought I wanted to do, because I could see that element of wanting to help and wanting to be successful in that area. Could it have prolonged my career? Yeah, potentially. But like I said, I don't regret anything now. That coaching decision where they wiped it away from me last minute, fantastic. I hated them at the time, but it was fantastic.
But you always hated at the time, and then looking back, you're like, actually, that's what checked me.
Yeah. And isn't that the same for most things in our life? When we look back, as like that thing that I really thought was a problem, it was minor. And look what it's led to. If you strip back your process and you look back at what you have done and what it's led to, you're like, God, I shouldn't have really felt that way, because I'm now doing this, and this is fantastic.
Yeah. So you mentioned like struggles, of course, and like I don't want to go too much into the struggles, because we all have our own struggles to fight with. But what are like some of the things that helped you go through the struggles and like come out on the other side of those times?
There's one saying that's always stuck with me. And I was billeted in Canada in a tournament with a family, and they had a sign above the stairs, and it said, "You never fail until you stop trying." It's an Einstein quote. And at that point, I was in my younger hockey career. There was points where it really felt like a struggle. I'd either miss out on making a team, or like I was a last resort. And I was like, that makes so much sense. I never fail unless I stop trying, which is then my choice. And most people now that might receive an email from me, or I quote it quite a lot, it's on there. It's quoted all the time, because it's so true. Okay, it's taken me most of my career, but PT wise, I'm nearly in year 14. It's taken me a long time to get all my ducks in a row. Yet the one thing was, it wasn't an option for me to not try. So I had multiple different challenges of overeating, poor sleep, stressful scenarios with hockey teams, stressful scenarios with hockey coaches, which led them to overeating, comfort eating. But one thing I knew is I will only never get there or get what I want in life if I just stop. And that's a huge part of my business ethos now. And what I want to do business wise is it's a matter of when for me, not if. Now, that can be some frustrating some days because I want the when now. But I also understand that if I continue to chip away, I'm a big believer of the compound effect, which is that little and often. If you keep chipping away, it's going to come. It's going to come. And I think that's just been a huge lesson learned. It's just from that one saying, that one quote at the right time, and I've just lived on it.
So what's your advice? Love that, by the way.
Thank you.
And what's your advice, or like how, in terms of how you work with your clients? Because yeah, we know it, and people in the field know it. You know, you never actually you're probably that close to like a breakthrough. But for people who struggle to see it and to believe that you never really fail unless you give up, who think like, but I've given up already because I fell off the wagon for like the millions times this year, and you know, what have you. What's like your number one tip to these kind of people to like just keep their beliefs that actually you haven't really given up yet? Because I think personally as well that when you can still think about it and you take even thoughtful action towards something, and still deep inside of you, you still haven't given up, right? Even though right now at this moment you're probably maybe not doing anything about it, but you're still thinking about it. So what's your kind of advice, I guess, to people who like in that kind of belief?
Have a break. Have a break. Like, so many people fail because they start and they think they're not going to stop until they get there. It ain't going to happen. It isn't going to happen. When I say have a break, I mean more mental than physical. What you see a lot, and you've probably seen a lot, is what I call the diet mindset. That people live in it 24/7. Even if they've had an XL pizza, beer, cake, crisps, the diet mindset's still been on because they've had like this uncontrolled blowout instead of actually taking a break. Okay. But how many times have people come back from holiday and said they felt fantastic? How many times have people had the weekend off and felt fantastic? I had one client say to me at the start of this year, Shaun, I'm at the bottom of the barrel and I cannot see a way out. After our conversation, clear evidence of burnout, absolutely clear evidence of burnout. He fell in, to 2 of the 3 categories of concept of burnout. And I said, you need a break. You need to take it. You need to not take your phone. You need a break. He had a weekend away in Malta. Okay, not everybody can jump on a plane and go away like he could, but he went away, no phone, just with his partner. He came back and he said, Shaun, this is the best I've ever felt. Within 5 days of our call, he went from bottom of the barrel to the best he'd ever felt because he took a break. It's insane how many people struggle. The finish line's here and you just see people doing this. Okay, take a break. Oh, hello. Hello, I'm getting a bit closer. And again, break, there are different ways of doing it. Okay, if I was talking to a client, there are different elements of breaking that we use. We use a maintenance day. And the other one, I won't swear like Julia does, an effort day, where it's just like, stuff it. It's one day. Like, come on, one bad day doesn't break you, just like one good day doesn't make you. And it's about the perception with the day off, because you could eat the same amount of calories, but giving yourself permission to have a break is going to stop the overconsumption and want you to get back on track. Whereas if you just try and diet and then overconsume, you've now got guilt and shame and friction, which is then going to lead you to consume more and fall off track. So yeah, there is a lot more to taking a break, but that's ultimately it. You're not going to start and finish. Okay, it isn't going to happen. You are going to need periods of time where you have time off.
It's not a linear line, right? Just like life.
Nowhere near.
Linear. Not
nowhere near.
Yeah. Okay, so my number one question is always, and I'd love to ask you that, the number one tip you can give people who are currently watching or listening or re-listening or rewatching later on, you can just pick one. A thing that they can do right now that will immediately enhance their well-being, their health, their fitness, whatever. What's that? Like literally right now in this second, it doesn't require any preparation or planning or anything.
Take action. Action isn't as big as you make it out to be. Okay, you want to get fit, you don't need to go and buy your brand new Gymshark activewear and wait for it to arrive. You don't need to go to the gym 7 days a week. You don't need to get all your Tupperwares out from the back of your cupboard and create chicken, rice, and broccoli for 7 days. Action could be you're drinking 2 glasses of water and you have 3, and you celebrate that win because you had a third one. If you're doing 2,000 steps and you walk 3,000, which you can do in your house, that is also a win. If you read one page of a self-development book, that is action. Okay. And so many people want to overwhelm the process that they don't start. So how can you simplify that action that there is movement forward? Okay. And this is like the compound effect that I spoke about earlier. Because people overwhelm it, if you're not doing it, the task is still too big.
Yeah.
How can I simplify that? How can I simplify that action that I go from stationary to moving the tiniest bit forward? But any momentum builds. I can't remember what the saying is, but something, an object in water that builds momentum kind of carries on type of it. Can't remember. But anyway, it is all about building. I've got it on my notes. But it's all about building momentum. And if you're not doing anything, you still think this process is too big. The diet industry, the fitness industry want you to think it's too big because then you've just bought your new Gymshark outfit.
Yeah.
They've just made money. Okay. You just signed up to a new gym membership. They've made money. You've just gone to My Protein and you've bought all your BCAAs and all your protein. They've now made money. You don't need any of that. You don't need any of that. Absolutely nothing at all. You can do it from your own home and you do a fantastic workout. If you don't believe me, I'll do one for you. I wear shorts with like holes in them when I train, and the baggiest, oldest t-shirt I could find because it's comfortable. And I can't justify spending 50 plus quid to make it sweaty and smelly. So it isn't as complex as they make you believe. It isn't as complex as you believe. Action is any form of movement that is more than nothing. And watch that magic go to work if you do it daily with no overwhelm.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I got asked the other day on an interview as well, like, oh, what's like one thing people can do to take action? It's like, take action. We can give you all the have a great playlist and a plan and this and whatever. Okay, now you have that all. You're like, I don't know, 300 quid lighter in your pocket. And you're still sitting on your sofa overthinking it. So it's just literally, it just doesn't matter. Literally nothing matters until you take action. And then, you can like dig deeper into, okay, now what's the best thing to have before workout and what's, whatever. But unless you actually get the basics right and you actually do something, nothing matters.
If this looked easy, then what would it look like?
Right.
If getting fit was easy, what would it look like? Oh, well, I'd go for a walk. Okay, cool. Go for a walk. I wouldn't have to plan meals. Okay, don't. There's loads of companies now that prepare them for you, or you can buy quick foods like microwave rices or, microwave veg. Like there's always something. And I feel a lot of the time it becomes a knowledge-based thing, whether people want to learn how to simplify it. Because then people go, well, what's one glass of water going to do? But what's one workout going to do? What's one new piece of gym kit going to do? Nothing. It's the compound effect of there's your one, now there's two, and it becomes less overwhelming. So you want to do it, but most people knock that. And that's not going to do anything. So you won't do it. It will stop. Whereas if you celebrate that win, you've done one thing more than yesterday. Well done. I'm proud of you for doing that. Let's go again. That felt good. Now your dopamine and your happy hormones are on board and they want more. They're going to start driving you to go and get more as well. So a lot of people just don't want to do the internal work. And I'm not saying like
Oh no, I think we've lost him. Well, I've lost him. Shaun, if you can hear me. Oh, you're back. You're not. You're a little bit back. You're like a robot. And no, you're back. And no, oh no.
Okay, I can
Oh,
hear. Okay, yeah.
oh, you're
We've
back.
never had
I
that.
can hear you. Never. You're like just literally
We've
frozen
never had.
from 1 second. I was like,
We
what happened?
we've never had that. Yeah. So that's it really. It's how can you make it simple? That compound effect is so powerful, extremely powerful, and it reduces your overwhelm. So even if you are busy with work, even if you are busy in life, you can fit everything in. You just need to give the credit to the basic work more and watch that stack up.
Yeah, love that. Great. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, Shaun, for being so open.
No, thank
And
you.
now we all know if you're putting socks on first or pants.
It's very important. Very important information.
The most literally the make or break point if someone wants to, get in touch with you.
Yeah, because if they go trousers first, then maybe we're not a good fit. We might be, so we should find out. But
We
maybe I'm
might.
more of a sock guy.
And what about the deodorant? I now have to go to the shops and smell each and every single one of them. But
Oh no, you don't need to. It's Africa. Ask any man,
okay.
and the ones that say it's not Africa for links, run. That's a red flag.
So
Okay,
first
ladies.
dating question will be
That's
from
my tip. That's my tip of today, ladies. If a man says that links Africa is not their favorite, that's a red flag. Run
Right.
fast. Okay, it's the only one. It's been the only one since I was a kid. So Africa it's an elite level smell.
Now we all know how the famous Shaun Thompson smells like. Love it. Okay. On that note, now everyone's going to the shop to smell, so we get an idea of what to expect. Thank you so much, Shaun. Thank you so much, everyone who submitted questions, and everyone who's watched live and who will be catching up on the replay. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be back with our regular schedule. Now that you know us a little bit better, we can provide information again. Any final words, Shaun?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I got you. You sound like a robot on my end at the moment.
Yeah, you're the robot on my end, so I'm not sure what the people can see, but anyway.
I think it's time.
I think it's time. That's the sign. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, and we'll catch you all next time.
Thank you. See you later.